Is this thing on? Thank you. Thank you so much. I would like to introduce my beautiful, beautiful cast. Yootha Wong-Loi-Sing. And Kofi Siriboe. The brains behind this beautiful story, Felicia Pride. My producers, Aaliyah Williams. Melly Mel Jones.
Ooh, ooh, ooh.
We're gonna bring out some more chairs. And our exquisite moderator, Gil Robertson.
How y'all like
Thanks,
the
everybody.
movie?
We
How
gonna
y'all
sit
like
down.
the movie, huh?
Black people are as extraordinary and normal at the same time.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Damn.
So you're an artist?
We all are as far as I'm concerned. I just happen to paint.
I don't have an artistic bone in my body.
I find that hard to believe.
The power of your work comes from your hunger. So don't let this get in your head and cause you to lose that.
Did you feel like you can do that?
I don't know.
Thank you so much.
So now, I want to talk about the genesis of the project. I've known Felicia for a very long time, and we've known each other and worked together, over the years. How did the two of you come together? How was this project born?
We have a mutual friend, producer Kelly Thomas,
Who also worked at Film Independent.
also worked at Film Independent. Everybody is Film Independent family. But she had been trying to introduce us because we're both from Baltimore, and Felicia had just moved to LA. And so we just so happened to be at her barbecue at the same time, finally. And we just started talking. And she told me that she had written her first screenplay and she was looking for a director. And she described it as a Love Jones meets Blue Valentine set in DC. And I was like, can you send it to me, please? I read it like in one sitting, and then we had dinner, and she was like, I want you to direct this. And so that kind of began the journey. We were, both working full-time jobs, and we would get together after work to work on the script. And we did that for 2 years before we pitched it to Macro.
And so what was that process like? Because I vividly recall us having lunch, the organization that I were a part of, AFCA, the African American Film Critics Association. We had a partnership with the Project Evolve program over at Film Independent, and it was something that we were very excited about. And I remember us going out to lunch and you telling me, oh, I'm leaving to make my first movie. And it was just like something, we were in Hollywood having a Hollywood experience. But now, how did the project find its way to Macro? And talk about how you found these two amazingly gifted talents.
So I was on the set of Lamert Park, which is a series that Mel and Kadi Kamakate, who's also in the building, created, and Mel was directing. So I was on the set, shadowing her. And Aaliyah Williams, my producer, and I, we walked down to the Jamaican spot to get some beef patties for the crew. And she was like, what are you working on? Like, what are you doing? And I said, well, I think I found the screenplay that's gonna be my first feature. And so I described it to her, Felicia's description again, and she was like, send me that. But I didn't want to send it because it was mid-December and everybody was about to, disappear from LA. But something told me that Saturday to send her the script and the lookbook, right? And I was like, she'll get to it when she does. And that Sunday morning, I had an email and a voicemail. She was like, so I wasn't gonna read the script, but I looked at the lookbook and it was so dope that I said, let me just read the first 10 pages. She said, I read the first 10 pages and I couldn't stop. She was like, what are we doing? So she gave the script to Charles's wife, who gave it to him, and then finally he called Felicia and I in to pitch the project. But that's how it got to Macro.
The lovely Stacey King. So now, once the project got to Macro, how did it get to you, Kofi, and you, Yootha?
You trying to go first? Okay.
Ladies first.
So initially I was shooting, I was actually working on a completely different project. Not really completely different, Love Is. So I was shooting that and I got a request in my email about this project and I saw the script, I was reading it, I was like, wait a minute. Honestly, like you don't want to say it out loud, but I was actually auditioning for another part, and I saw Stevie's part, and I was low-key thinking to myself, like, that should actually be me. But you want to be grateful that that you have the opportunity to actually audition in the first place. So I was like, you know what? Let me just fall back. I'll just audition for that other part. And then, as it always goes, basically, you don't hear anything until 2 months later, and I got the request if I wanted to audition for Stevie. I was like, okay. So that's how manifestation works. Got it. Loved it, and I was ready to go. I rounded up some of my buddies in Atlanta where we were shooting, and I really felt so much when I read the script, when I saw Stevie's character. Sometimes you're drawn to a character in a way that just makes you feel like you need to have it, like this really, really strong urgency of like, wait a minute, this might be that part where you can really, sink your teeth in, and that's what that was.
And Kofi?
Man, I think I was working on season 3 of Queen Sugar, and I was also writing. I love to write and do my thing. I was writing a love story on my own. And I was really adamant about it, and then the conversation of really love came about. And similar to Mel's experience, I was like, let me see what they talking about, you know what I'm saying? Let me read these first 10 pages. That was it. Like, I couldn't stop reading it. And I just related to Isaiah, just the duality of being an artist and wanting to succeed and find success and evolve, but at the same time still needing love and wanting to just love and be in that space. But the script was captivating. Macro's a winning team. Angel was just passionate. She sent me a crazy playlist. She got me with that Spotify playlist. That was cold.
When does the playlist drop? Like the soundtrack? Right?
We're gonna.
Oh yeah, give them the date. They not ready.
Sorry.
Nah, but yeah, I mean, it's just like it was obvious, and I guess for me, I was scared of the project at first because it was so real, like Isaiah it was like a mirror. Like I just saw so much of what I was personally going through in the film, and I was like, ugh, I don't know if I'm ready to, what I'm saying?
Right.
But that's how I knew I was ready to do it.
I mean, in a lot of ways, both of the characters are two young individuals looking to find themselves and find their place, find out who they are in this journey. But Felicia, as the artist behind the words, behind the story, how much of this mirrors your own experience as a creative living in Baltimore, looking to create a path, looking to find acceptance, for your work and your artistry?
Yeah, I mean, I was actually living in D.C. and coming of age as an artist. And for those of you who know D.C., like it has such a rich culture, so much history, so much art, but then it also has like a very practical side. So you bump up against that as an artist. So that was kind of my experience. And then trying to date as an artist, but then also date as a woman. Like, it was just a lot. So, Angel talks about this a lot, about seeing herself in both characters, and I can feel that, right? I feel the plight of an artist where sometimes people don't understand how consuming it is when you are trying to create and also get on, right? And then how you are trying to balance and explain that to friends and family and loved ones, and then also wanting to feel the things that you need to feel in order to create. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is. But you pull it off so well, and also the thing with DC. I mean, as I was telling you earlier, I mean DC, and I remember when you mentioning, we're doing it in Baltimore. I remember thinking, why Baltimore? But I mean,
Is that shade?
But you feel the love. When I saw them coming out of the chili dog house, I was like, okay, I get it. This is part of the experience that you wanted to get us to know. But talk about what it was like filming in both of your hometowns.
That part of it was magical. I mean, everyone came to Baltimore. Baltimore isn't like a huge film hub, so there were a lot of challenges for my producers, which they accepted gracefully. But also, we were filming in neighborhoods where I grew up. Like, my grandmother's house is in the film. Streets that I used to walk home from school. So it was beautiful to be able to come back home, right, and make work, because I've been gone for so long, and people know that you're doing this thing, but then all of a sudden they can see it up close, and then they can participate in it. So it was just so much love, like, to me and everybody involved. Like, my family was bringing food to the house, and my producers frying chicken, and we eating crabs. I mean, that piece of it, it just, like, we don't get to do that when you're in a place like LA or elsewhere.
We eating crabs.
Crabs
You feel
was
me?
delicious.
Now, Yootha and Kofi, talk about how the two of you connected and really, captured those roles.
What you trying to say, Kofi?
Man. Yootha. I'm only taking this breath because she really like, again, when I talk about the project being a challenge, she's a part of that challenge. She's an amazing woman. She kind of just, yeah. It's a great movie, man. No,
I'm not here.
I was about to say, no, but to be honest, it's like, making a film like this requires like a really, real level of vulnerability. It really requires you to let go of some things and really, challenge some things. And to do that with someone, it's like a relationship, like in real life, So I ain't know Yootha. We don't know each other from nowhere. Like, we met on this project, but we basically team up and say we're about to do this. And then it's like, how? What's the actual like design? Like, how do we do this? And you might hit a few walls. You gotta work through some things. And usually it's personal. But when I sit here next to her now, like, I'm just so blessed. Like, I'm just so grateful to have the experience to like experience her. In such a go ahead, talk. Let me stop talking, man.
My cheeks hurt. No, I'm just kidding. So no, I mean, I everyone knows Kofi. It's like, if you're like into beautiful things, Kofi. It's like, but I was very adamant in like letting him know the first time we met, like, listen, you're not my wallpaper. And that kind of like, maybe that kind of, created kind of like a wall in the beginning. But you were Kofi's a great actor, first and foremost. Very professional, very intentional. And when we read the script, I think both of us realized that there was no way that we're gonna pull this off just by being, just by reading the lines. It was not gonna happen. We had to like dig deeper and tap into something that even in real life is challenging to like, reach. You don't want to be too vulnerable. You don't want to be too, you always have this defense mechanism going on, and that was not possible for this movie. So now we're in Baltimore. We meet each other. I'm like, let me just cook you some salmon and see what's up, And we talked about the script, and we really connected on a deeper level and really made sure that we both realized what the challenge was, and we just embraced it. That's what we did. We really like dove deep and made sure that y'all felt it, hopefully.
Angel and Felicia, how important was it? I mean, one of the things that certainly caught my eye in watching was the fact that this film isn't, wrapped around trauma or wrapped around negative energy, that it's wrapped around, possibilities and wrapped around romance and wrapped around hope. So was that something important to both of you as creatives in getting those messages out there, with stories about us?
Yeah, I mean, I think that it was important, at least I speak for myself, to be able to just show Black people living, loving, dreaming, fucking, like all the things that we do in our lives. And like when we center ourselves, we don't think about white people 24/7. We don't think about racism 24/7. Like we live and we experience joy and but then we also are messy, we have our own hangups, we have our own blocks, we have our own baggage that we bring to things. So just showing us very complex, very complicated, but also full and layered, and as, for lack of a better word, like real and lived in and experienced as possible. Mm-hmm. And also to show like a range of Black people. I think that was really important, especially if you go to DC, you got Black people of all kinds across the diaspora, and across class, across everything. So being able to like put as many of us into one space as we are in our lives, was important.
You definitely succeeded. Angel?
Yeah, I mean, it was very intentional. I mean, I wanted to put on screen like, our lives, like my friends, the relationships that we aspire to. You know what I mean? I joke all the time that like I'm equally both of these characters. You know what I mean? Like I am the artist who puts her work before everything, but I'm also like this woman who wants to be madly in love. You know what I mean? So all of those were very personal choices.
So who you relate to more? Huh?
Oh, here we
Probably
go.
Stevie.
Is this the Team Stevie or Team Isaiah question?
You ain't got to answer that.
Now, of course, everyone's looking for the big movie moment. They're looking for that theatrical experience. What were your thoughts when you realized that it wasn't going to, get that kind of play, but instead it was going to have the opportunity to quadruple its audience, in fact, by being on a streamer?
I mean, I definitely had to have my grieving moment with it, right? I mean, I think I always wanted to like experience the film like this, right, with you all. But I mean, I think when South by was canceled, and I was the only one, everybody was like, are you sure? I don't think it's gonna happen. Like my producers was like, yeah, no. I was like, I'm gonna go, even if nobody else. And then it got canceled, and I was like, but, I think, right. But so many things about this film had, like, at some point the film told us what it wanted to do, including like when it wanted to reach its audience, right? And so I just have constantly tried to like step back and, trust the process, because now that it's coming out, like, not even post-pandemic, right? We can't even say that yet, but I think that, had it come out a year ago or 2 years ago, like perhaps it wouldn't be received in the way that it is right now, so.
I mean, I used to work in film distribution, and I always talk about like what your goals are, right? And there are certain films that luckily streaming has provided a new outlet, right? And if we're talking about bringing the film to the people, streaming is a really great way to bring the film to the people. And so I'm really excited about the fact that there's a potential for millions of people to see this film. Like, theatrical can provide a beautiful communal experience, but it also provides challenges and blocks, and sometimes you're in theaters for a short period of time, and then what happens? So I'm just excited about the global reach that this film could possibly have.
For real. Now, Kofi and Yootha, excuse me, folks are already talking about the continuation of these characters beyond.
That is so interesting.
I mean, where do you see? I'm really feeling part two. but what about the two of you? Where do you see these two characters?
I think you had a theory on that, right?
I was just gonna say, I feel like we've been doing the whole really love part 2 in real life, you know? And take that how you want. Don't go around with it, you know what I'm saying? But naturally it was like, we can't, I mean, we're done. Like, the movie's finished. Like, I still had something, like, I still gotta figure something, you know, it's just something left on the table. You know, and I said take it how you take it, you know, don't be trying, you know. But honestly, like, I don't, yeah, what y'all,
Goofy. What's
just
going
being
on
honest,
here?
man.
Yeah, I love it.
I think it's a beautiful completion. It's a complete, so even though it feels like it's open-ended, as a young artist of this generation, that's how it be, you know? In real life, I mean, this is the right, but I mean, sometimes it's all these emotions, it's highs, it's lows, it's passionate, and then it's nothing, you know? You just have the moments, and man, thank God we still got, you know, we still creating some moments, you know?
Can we please remove the ladies to my right?
Our producers over here.
I mean, I think everything y'all did was on purpose. You know, I just feel like all of this was intentional. But definitely, like, I can agree with Kofi. It's like, you can't really make something like that and just be like, well, that's it. I mean, this is going to be a foundation for life. We don't know what's going to, like, what we're going to build on that foundation. Might be part 2. Might be, yeah, you know. No, we actually discussed it. We're going to, like, you know, say some crazy shit just for y'all, but I haven't seen him in years. Anyway.
Wait, hold on. If we're gonna do this, tell her what your dad said. Tell her what your dad said.
Listen.
I just tell her, like, on set, like, tell her what your dad said, because I relate.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You know what I'm talking about.
What are you talking about? No, I seriously don't know what you're talking about. What my dad said? Like,
we either getting married or what?
Oh, that part.
Yeah.
Yeah. So my dad basically said, okay, so you came back from Baltimore, and obviously, like, art, we talk about art imitating life imitating art, but it was very obvious to, like, my dad, who's my best friend. He was like, you came back and you're, like, a changed woman, so you might want to, like, you know, figure some shit out. And I was like, what? I didn't even ask for your for your opinion, but thank you, I guess. But that just goes to say that this is like one of the same feeling that I had when I read the script, and the same feeling you had, like, it's kind of dangerous, like, I'm not sure if I want to go there. And I think a lot of actors read the script and actually said, you know, you might not, like, let's not go there, because it's just like digging that deep as an actor, you know, it comes with consequences, and sometimes you're stuck with someone for life. It's like, okay. And yeah, I think that's my answer.
That's a great.
This is a weird Q&A. What's going on?
This is what the people want.
What
And
y'all
we here to
joked
give it
out
to
about?
him. We
What's
here to
so
give it
funny,
to him.
huh? What's so funny?
As creators, Angel and Felicia, how do you feel about the comparisons to an earlier black classic film steeped in romance, Black Love, Love Jones. How do you feel about those comparisons?
I mean, that comparison blows my mind because, first of all, Love Jones has been a reference for me since I was 17. Like, I saw that film on VHS tape, and I hadn't even been in love yet, and I was like, I want someone to look at me like that. So for anyone to compare it to that is like the highest compliment, in my opinion, because that's like one of my favorite films.
And I mean, it was such a huge inspiration. I think about like two things too, like the music from Love Jones and the soundtrack, and wanting to bring that to this film and like infuse music, but then also like the love scenes. I remember like replaying. I was in my like over and over again with that Maxwell. I was like, Jesus. So like to see that, I hadn't seen that so intimate on screen before, and so that was really important to put in the script of like that type of love making, like, you know, where she was like, it spoke to me, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, so, yeah.
Oh, Kofi.
What you what?
Quite a compliment.
All right.
Having to occupy that space, you know? What do you want, and all four of you, what? We can't hear you, sir.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you hear me now?
He been hitting with the crazy ad-libs. That's why he was like,
What do you want the audience takeaways to be?
That's a great question. For me, I want them to take away what I've always felt like when I watch a love story, and when I walk away, it makes you think of your own love stories, like whether those are romantic or, platonic. Like, I just want it to remind someone of someone else. Like, for me, this is a love story about two people who, whether their love story continues, they are the one person in each other's lives who they will never forget.
I'll say that, I think also that this film is about a wide type of love and a wide-ranging love, a self-love, a communal love, a love of family, a love of dreams, a love of art. So to be able to be thinking about those things and connecting with those things would be a joy if that would happen.
I just want people to be inspired to just dig deeper. Whether that's art, whether that's love, whether that's, just your personal relationship with self, just dig deeper. Like, it's so easy to watch a film or listen to a song and just move on. There's so much going on, but kind of like how, I want this to stick with somebody forever, for whatever reason, whether it's the music, whether it's the fashion, whether it's Yootha, it just, I want it to stick with people forever,
Yeah, I think to add on that, like, I feel like, it's easy to watch. It's not easy. I mean, you watch a film, but if you watch this film, like, so far the reactions and the responses I've seen are that people have been drawn into this story that really makes them feel seen and heard. Everyone's dealing with love. It's just like, or passion, or just like the journey of life. I think nowadays we're so much more aware of the fact that self-reflection is key, and we all wonder if there's going to be a part 2, but it all depends on whether or not Stevie and Isaiah come to, like, or whether or not they're able to ascend to a place where they can actually love. And that's a space that's sacred, and it's a place that's not always hard, it's not always easy to get to, but when they do, it could be magical. And we all get like a little hint of that magic in this film, I believe. And that's why I think everyone's rooting for Stevie and Isaiah to like actually make it. So it's like, I hope that people get inspired to self-reflect and to grow and to get to that space where you can actually experience that magic, because I think we all really deserve it, And
I was just gonna say, maybe it's not always about being together. Sometimes you just play a role in somebody's life, and that was the point, So it's like, that inspiration, that's priceless. You know, that ascension she's talking about is not always about staying together. It's like, yo, like, give me something, you know? Give me what I need, you know?
That's the hard part, though. That acceptance, right, of their position or their role. But, you know, still beautiful.
You want to talk about it?
I know, I just...
It was on her
You
face.
wanna
It
talk
was
about
all on
it?
your face,
Talk about
Angel.
It really was.
We're getting some intel here tonight.
But okay, let's bring it back on track. But talk about the music. I mean, the music plays a significant role in this picture. You know, talk about how you set the musical direction. You know, what went into that.
Yeah, so I just want to shout out my composer, Kari Mateen, again, who's in the
He
back.
needs to stand up. Get up. Hey!
Kari! You know, it's I've always been intimidated by scoring a film, right? Because it's like you don't know what the score sounds like because it doesn't exist yet. But when I first sat down with Carr, we met in a coffee shop, and he had, you know, looked at the materials, and I had an idea because I wanted it to feel like timeless, and so I just immediately, like when I first read the screenplay, I thought horns, like I wanted to hear horns in the score. And then when I sat down with him, he pitched the idea of like, well, what if each of them has their own instrument? And so I was like, okay, Isaiah's instrument needs to be a horn. I thought it should be a sax, but we landed on the trumpet. And Kari is a cellist, and cello is my favorite instrument. Like I was like, Stevie's instrument has to be strings. And so the way he approached the score was, where are the moments where the instruments play solo? Where do they play together? And when do they fight each other? And so that's sort of like the direction for every single cue.
Fire.
The cinematography was also very noteworthy. And it was a situation where we were photographed great. I mean, you had it was perfect lighting, perfect. You could see the people and you could appreciate their beauty. Talk about that work experience with your cinematographer.
So Sean Peters is amazing. He actually bought a house in Baltimore after we wrapped production. But just so, he loves black women. He was raised by black women, and so there would be moments where he would say, Yootha's light isn't right. Everyone stop. You know, like he was just that intentional and meticulous. And Hans Charles was my camera operator, Howard alum. He, you know, just like everything was so intentional. You know, everyone was having conversations like, you know, my director of photography with production design and costume design and makeup and hair. So we talked about like what we wanted the palette to be, and because we knew when we knew that we would be in Baltimore in the summer and that it would be humid, it was like, okay, let's embrace this humidity. I wanted their skin to be dewy, and you know, we wanted to use color to align with like what was happening emotionally. And you know, Sean really guided my hand and helped us, you know, develop a language.
I mean, that's a technical approach. I mean, not really technical, but from an actor's perspective, it was such a treat to be on set and actually having people around you in every single department that really care and are actually aware of the fact that your skin is black. You know, it seems it's not really trivial, obviously it's not, but it was so beautiful to actually see Sean think about what lens would work best for Kofi, you know, to make him a little bit more handsome or whatever, you know, or for me, you know, to tone it down a little bit so I could get closer to his visual. So it was like, that was like the fact that troll. Yeah, no, actually, I love the fact that he was so conscious of all of those different things. And then you have the hair department, makeup, everything, and it just felt like a dream to work on a set where you could actually be, like in your full potential. And a lot of times it's just like, okay, so we're just gonna slick your hair back with some water, like. You're gonna need more than that. And it's like, but you're kind of in like a weird position. You don't wanna, you can't really talk about it. And then you feel like you're the diva, like, you need an extra person coming to set. But this just gave me this space, and I think that goes for you as well, to actually focus on what you're trying to do, which is tell this story. So, just adding on that a little bit.
And then I also, because the film is, about this painter, I was like, I want every frame to look like a painting. I wanted it to be, composed. And there are moments in the film where it's handheld, but we were very intentional about where those would be, but I wanted everything to kind of mirror the paintings that he was making. So we were trying to create a composition that felt like something that he would paint.
Wow. Talk about your film independent experience and how it helped prepare you for this moment.
I mean, so many relationships from Film Independent helped me make this film. So many. I mean, it's like, where do I begin? Mel, Aaliyah, Film Independent Fellows, Sean's Film Independent Fellow, my editor's film, you know what I mean? So just so many, Felicia took the screenplay through the screenwriting lab, you know what I mean? So they have been involved in every stage of the process. With this screening, they're hosting this screening because they support us, so. Yeah, we have so much love for Film Independent, and when they support you, they never stop, and that's always been the case. So I'm very proud to be both an ex-employee as well as a fellow.
So how do we follow? How do we continue this journey? Let's go to the social media tags.
Black Twitter is lit.
Yeah. How do we offer our comments about what we agree or disagree with, or what we want to see next go around? Twitter, it's your hashtag.
Hashtag really love. That's how. Yep. Hashtag really love everywhere.
Okay.
And also Strong Black Lead.
Yes.
At Strong Black Lead on Instagram and
amazing.
Twitter has been just amazing in terms of holding the film down, supporting the film, creating content around the film. So they already have conversations that they have started and are, so look for more content from there as well.
Yeah. And I cannot leave the building without just acknowledging Suzanne Douglas, who, every time. There's so many spirits that touch this film, and she is a huge part of that. And so every time I see her face, it makes my heart full, and I feel so grateful and blessed to have met her and to have her be this through line for the film. She's just so magical.
Was this her final role?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Wow. Well, everyone, thank you for coming. Really Love is on Netflix right now. Yeah. Make sure you watch it.
Thank you guys for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming, everyone.